Alright, hi everyone, my name is Jill. Welcome to my channel for Japan. This is my first official video on this channel just because I figured I might as well make the, what do you call it, kind of the obligatory introduction video to say who you are, where you're from. Basically, I've been shortlisted on the JET program, so it's quite exciting. I have been waiting to have the opportunity to live in Japan for probably the past like 6 years. I initially wanted to do a what do you call it, a study abroad through university, but that never really came true because sometimes I would put off doing the application process. Sometimes I just wouldn't have enough money to feel like I could support myself for a whole year with my rent all taken care of. But yeah, I've been shortlisted for the JET program. A quick introduction about myself is my name is Jillian. I'm 22 years old currently. My birthday is July 8th actually, so I'll be turning 23 right before I leave. I am currently living in Victoria, British Columbia. I've interviewed through the Vancouver consulate in British Columbia. My hometown is from Quesnel, so my hometown is in Quesnel, so I might incorporate some of that into my lessons when I'm in Japan. We'll see how that goes, but I did put on my application that I am more comfortable with saying that, or I'm more comfortable talking about Quesnel as my hometown, just because I've only lived in Victoria for, I think this is my 4th or 5th year. I kind of lost count. I graduated university last year in June at UVic, and I've been in Victoria since I started my 2nd year, so that was, I think I'm technically going towards my 5th year in Victoria. Anyways, that's not really important. At this point, all I know is that I'm shortlisted. I've sent in some of my papers early, so for example my police record check, and I sent in my health check as well. Those were a bit expensive, so if you're looking into applying for the JET program possibly this fall or whenever you might stumble across this video, just to let you know, at least in Canada, and I think also in the UK and US as well, from what I've heard from not only current JETs but people that are also shortlisted at this time like me, and they're starting to send in their paperwork. For me, my health check actually cost almost $200 to complete, just for them to sign off on what my health was at the time, and also it was about $70 to fill out my police check. So that was a little bit of a killer to the savings. But we're trying to get it back up there so that I don't have to be poor right away when I get to Japan. So that's one thing to consider, is that filling out all of that paperwork really does take a lot out of your savings, which I didn't completely expect. Where else am I gonna go with this? It's almost the end of the day for me, and I'm sorry I'm sniffly because apparently I'm a little bit allergic to the outside world. Not quite enough to need medication, but enough to be sniffly. So yeah, at this point, I don't really know where I'm going to be placed. I heard from current JETs that usually you find out around May 15th, or somewhere around middle of May. And I've also heard a few situations where you might find out your prefecture in May from your consulate, but sometimes you don't even know what city you're actually living in until like June, which would be a little scary for me. I really hope I find out pretty much everything in May of what city I'm going to be living in, for example, because I really don't want to have a situation where I just kind of know the province or the prefecture that I'm living in, and I don't really know where I'm going to be staying, and sometimes prefectures could be quite large, so it's hard to really know what to prepare for sometimes. But yeah, at this point I've sent in the paperwork that I can send in. I'm still waiting for instructions about my working visa that I need to apply for by, I think it's by middle of June the application for sure has to be in. the middle of July, but I really want to send it in early because I like to send all my stuff early apparently. And then I also need to, because I do have medication, I do have a condition called colitis, which is, I'm stumbling on my words so much today, guys. I'm so sorry. Basically, colitis is chronic ulcers, so I take a fair bit of medication for that. So I will need to fill out, I believe it's called a jikanshome, which is basically an import document that says I need to bring more than a month's worth of medication into the country, and that would be definitely ideal for me because I do go through a bottle per month, and I really don't want to have to deal with scrambling and finding a doctor right away. I mean, I do want to find out where like the buildings and that type of thing is right away if I can, but I just don't want to be scrambling while I'm trying to move in and try to find a doctor that can fill my prescription, because I don't really want that stress on top of trying to figure out Wi-Fi, utilities, whatever else I might be thrown into. Sometimes I've heard situations where some people are pretty much golden from the moment they get there and everything is set up for them, and sometimes people get put in pretty much a blank apartment and they have to furnish it by themselves, and sometimes they have to set up the Wi-Fi by themselves, which might be a bit of an adventure. So I'm kind of, basically I'm a little bit of a pessimistic person. I usually go with the philosophy of expecting the worst, and then anything else that isn't that bad is pretty much a good surprise. Anyways, I'm trying to think of what else I can say. This is a pretty basic video just because, again, I'm still in Victoria. I'm waiting to go to Japan at this point. It's currently May 1st as I'm filming this, so I still have a little ways to wait, and I don't think it quite feels real yet. It probably won't feel real until I finally start packing my bags, or at least move out of the place I'm currently renting. Because I'm currently renting a place in Victoria and I'm planning to move home somewhere around the middle of July, just so I can hang out with my family a little bit and just relax before I head over there, because I currently work basically part-time right now. Or part-time. I'm technically part-time, but I do have full-time hours where I work basically, which probably sounds confusing, but I would say I have at least 30 hours a week that I'm working. Which is a bit on the higher side of part-time. So at this point in terms of my job, I suppose I can talk about that a little bit. At this point I haven't given notice to my work just because I'm not sure if they'll slowly start trickling my hours down, because I am part-time and I'm not salary, which a lot of my coworkers are. They are salary full-time workers, so they are a little bit more attached to my company, I suppose. I'm just a little worried of giving notice right now, and then I still have about 2 months of rent to pay, so I really don't want them to just fire me on the spot or start taking away my hours because of it, because we're going to need to live for the next few months. And also I'm still trying to work on getting my savings together. I do plan to sell my car. I'm not going to get a ton of money for it just because it is a 99 Honda CR-V, so it's a little bit on the older side, but I hope it'll give me maybe a couple $1,000s to tack onto my savings, because I have heard that sometimes people have had to spend $3,000 in their first month just because they need to buy furniture, bed. Sometimes they're in the middle of nowhere and they really do need a car to get around, especially to work. So then they have to buy a car when they get there. I've heard so many stories, even them paying 2 times rent in the first month just because I read a story where there was a new jet where it seems like they're a JTE, a Japanese English teacher, I guess first started renting out an apartment for the new jet just so that they can secure a place for them, and then it turns out that the landlord actually wanted the jet to pay their own rent as well, because there's something involving like switching over the lease or something. So basically they had to pay the Japanese teacher back and also pay another month's rent to the landlord, because the landlord didn't recognize them paying the other person back as rent. So I'm a little bit worried that something like that is going to happen to me. So, but I have heard that the golden number of money to bring is approximately $3,000. I do know that there's people that have scraped by with less. Some people have brought like $1,500 and managed to make it work until their first paycheck. But if I do, for example, need a car and to furnish my place, I probably will need around $3,000 for my first month, unless I'm able to go on some sort of financing plan for a few months when I first get a vehicle. But otherwise, yeah, again, at this point, I'm pretty much just sitting here working until mid-July and heading home and then finally leaving for Japan. If you guys have stumbled across this video, please let me know if you happen to have any questions. I'm not sure if I'm an expert yet because I'm still trying to read all of the fine print about being on jet, and for example what our jet accident insurance covers. I'm pretty sure at this point it acts like a travel insurance until you're able to sign up with the Japanese national health care that you do need to sign up for if you're basically a citizen in the country when you're working. But yeah, I think I might sign off for now. Please let me know again if you have any questions, or if you're a current jet or someone that has been shortlisted, or even if you're ended up being alternate or possibly wanting to apply for jet this fall. Please let me know. I love to read comments if they come my way. But otherwise, I think I'll sign off for now. Thanks and have a great day. Bye!